Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, or Reading Between the Lines. So last week I didn't do an RBTL because I didn't really think that there was necessary information that people couldn't just read themselves. Didn't really take my input on it. So this week we have Destina's return banner. So Destina was the featured hero to be released when the game at least came to global. So when the global version was released, Destina was the first banner. A lot of us, including myself, were convinced because by other content creators at the time, before I was a new player, everybody starts off in baby steps, and I was convinced that I have to pull Destina. So I ended up like raging and hamming for her, and now I have 3. So that was my mistake. But I will give you my thoughts on where Destina stands right now. Now, there were some rumors circulating on the interwebs that Destina was gonna get a buff because they were thinking, Destina was released before. Like Yufine hasn't had her own banner. No, like a lot of these heroes that were already in the game hasn't had their own individual banner. Like, why is Destina getting it? It must be because of a buff. So I don't know what Smilegay's intention was, but I don't mind it. I don't think that Destina is like a must-have if you don't have her. I don't think like you have to pull for her. So basically, the long story short, there's no buffs. From the reading of it, there's no buffs. She's the same as she was before. Now, does that mean that she's bad? No, absolutely not. Destina is one of the strongest healers. The only downside of her, is because she has really long cooldowns to wait for. Like, compared to Angelica, which I think could be as low as 3 turns on her S3, which arguably has more usage in some respects. Destina's lowest is 5 turn for her S3. Which is her ultimate heal, really. But of course, Destina does pack a punch in her entire kit. So, don't get me wrong. If you're a new player and you're just like, oh man, I heard Destina was really good, she is. But I think her usages are limited, and yeah. So I'm not quite sure how I would recommend you guys going for it. I will say that right now, as it is, she's pretty meta in the current. I would say more PvP or so arena. I'm not even 100% sure where can she fit in GVG, especially on a defense team. I think on a offensive team where you have control of her and not her AI, she's fantastic. On a defensive team, her AI is not the greatest, but I mean, there's not much she can do. She can only do 1, 2, 3. S1, 2, or 3, and most likely she's gonna do like a S2 or S3. Depends on what kind of damage you deal to the defense team. Regardless, that's my experience. Me facing Destina's in the arena. It's very kind of hit and miss. If there's a AOE damage to the defense team, Destina will do her S3. If there's not enough damage, she's gonna do her S1. If there is enough single target damage, she'll do her S2. If there's debuffs on certain heroes, she'll do her S3. Or if she does her S2 first and it's on cooldown, she's gonna do her S3 regardless if she needs a massive heal again, even if it's single target. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you need to take into consideration here. She's a bit better than Angelica in terms of stats, but they're pretty much like tooth and nail. They're very close. Now, obviously, they are sharing the same star sign, which actually I don't remember off the top of my head. Is it Cancer? I think it's Cancer. Which takes the same epic catalyst, same catalyst for their awakening, so the same stats. So they're very close, other than Destina being a 6-star. She has a little bit boost in her base stats, so she has a bit higher HP, higher defense, higher speed. Just only a bit though, and when I talk about a bit, it's not significant. Like if you took Angelica's gear, you do a direct swap to a Destina, it would look pretty much the same. So you're not gonna get really a lot out of that. The other thing that's good about Destina is because elemental advantage. We're still in currently the ice meta, with Dizzy kind of being released, and then Baiken kind of needing Baiken being Earth. Let's say Baiken is like, you have Baiken built at like, let's say 90% crit. If you hit a water hero with elemental advantage, you get a 15% extra. You get 100% right there. But on Destina, it's harder. So Destina's sort of good going against the meta right now. And of course, like I said, her kit is extremely good. It's just the long cooldown. I think it really hurts her. And that's why I think people are expecting a buff. Like one turn, if they had reduced her S3 by 1 turn, so that's 4, which is still 1 more than Angelica. Even though, I mean, they're not the exact same hero. I think it's still 1 more than Akades as well. So Akades or Akates, the Fire Soul Weaver is sort of like a mini Destina, but not exactly. Of course, there's different kits, but their usages are pretty much the same. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Like if you have Angelica, if you have Akades, which both are 4-star, you might consider skipping this one, to be honest. But to each their own. If you're a collector, maybe this is a good time to get her. Let's take a look at the skills really quick. So S1 always heals. So healing proportional to target's max health. The target's max health is the person that Destina is healing. So obviously, the lower the health, the more the more max health rather they have, the more HP you heal back. So it's by a percentage. And it always heals the lowest target. So it's kind of like Rod in that sense, but it's not that strong. The soul burn, it takes 20 souls, which is quite a lot. I would only recommend like probably using the S1 soul burn if you're actually taking her on like a PvE sort of fight. That will really benefit you. In a PvP or GVG, you probably will never see the need of doing 20 soul burns. You probably 20 soul burn. You probably never use the S1 for that. The battle shouldn't be drawn out that long, and if it is, I think your souls could be used for like a damage dealer to increase the attack to wipe out the enemy. But I really don't like I've used her in PvE like a long time ago because, like I said, I pulled her at the beginning of the game. And it was good. Heals a lot. It heals a ton actually, but it's 20 souls and does not trigger a dual attack, which is fine. And yeah, so I mean, just keep that in mind. So I mean, one niche of Destina over other healers so far is that her S1 also heals. Now we know that Tamarine does something similar in S1, but never as potent as Destina's heal. Tamarine's S1 is much weaker compared, but of course Tamarine can also soul burn the S1 as well for a greater heal and AoE as well. So they're not really comparable in that sense. And Tamarine you would most likely build like full speed. Now Destina, because it does proportional to target's max health, the S1 is actually pretty good if you can get a counter attack. So there's always going to be like theory crafts of builds, and some people do build Destina with counter. I've ran into them in arena just recently as well. But again, I do think that Destina's usage in the arena, you would need to gear her a bit differently and not with counter set, but to each their own, like I said before. I'm going to take a look at the S2. S2 is pretty good. 3-turn cooldown, not bad, especially if you have Destina. Let's say if you have a 170, 180 speed Destina. She's actually pretty annoying. 180 speed would give you like a really solid like head start, and that's pretty much what you would need her for the role I'm about to discuss. Which is a full cleanser. For the S3, it's really good, especially if you're again using for an attacking team on PvP specifically. For me, increase the combat readiness of the target for 30%, which is a really big CR boost. So you could push someone up 30% in the timeline, and of course that can really help, either secure a kill or secure some kind of immunity buff. Let's say like you have Angelica and Destina running against this crazy meta in the arena right now. I don't know how far this has cascaded down, but at least if you're in I think all the way to Challenger 5 now, it's cascaded all the way down there. A lot of people are running like ML Baal, ML Araminta, etc. So maybe sometimes you have Destina, you can cleanse her, and then you have all these debuffs coming again. You can do an S2 there, and push up Angelica for an immunity, maybe just to mitigate Araminta's S3, right? So I mean, depends. I'm just like thinking off the top of my head here, like, you know, usages for it. And like I said, of course, this 30% CR push is really good too. If you have like some kind of damage dealer, you need to like nuke out, let's say you have Luna or some kind of crazy single target damage dealer like Surmia. Let's say you want to take out some I don't know, some key hero on the enemy team. Using the S2 is perfect. Of course, that does increase a lot of health as well. So recover health increasing. So health healing increases proportional to caster's max health. So that is Destina's max health. So like I said, it is better if you do have Destina, let's say like 100, if you can, 180 speed, 170, 180 speed, and at least 18,000 HP. Those are like minimal requirements now, at least for arena's sake. I think those are nice to have. The S3, of course, is the thing that you really want to focus on. And as I think it is the reason why she's sort of meta right now. People kind of like brought her up again. Ever since ML Araminta came on the scene about 2 or 3 months ago, people were struggling with what she can do. So people are building Dingos, building Kitty Clarissas, building anyone really with that is able to have high effect resistance with immunity and also with a cleanse. Now, at this point of this recording, we do have Dizzy released, of course, and by the time you watch this video, Dizzy's banner would be bye-bye. So hopefully you've gotten her, but just Dizzy is a completely meta right now. Her being an ice hero, she can still land her debuffs regardless because of her mechanic for her S3. She can land 3 debuffs in 1 turn, if you don't have immunity, of course. And you know, most people run like ML Baal, Dizzy, and then like ML Araminta or Gerardo in there as well. So strips you immunity, puts the debuffs on you, and then sayonara, it's over. It's a pretty annoying meta to deal with, and I think this is why, you know, people who are, you know, preparing defense teams do have Destina in there. Destina has a good aspect in terms of being on a defense team against this meta that I just talked about. Alright, so against these heroes that do like massive debuffs and just debuffs all day, she has this benefit because, you know, once they land a couple AoE strikes with some debuffs, Destina will use her S3 no matter what. She'll use it. Unless they do like no damage, and Destina will be like, whatever, take my S1, hi-ya. But honestly, all the times I have seen her, she does do her S3 as soon as you land like a Dizzy AoE and Mel Baal AoE and then an Araminta AoE. If Araminta doesn't even kill them off, Destina will do the S3. It does do quite a bit of healing as well if you have Destina's skill upgraded and also with her HP high. So again, I look at the bottom line here, healing increases proportional to the caster's max health. Now, the great thing about Destina over, let's say, Kitty Clarissa, over like even Dingo, is because, of course, she's a healer while she cleanses the debuff. So it helps your survivability for the next turn to set up. Like I said, some people do run Destina with Angelica, with the turn rotation being Destina going first and then Angelica going after to put up that immunity buff. So if Angelica puts up their immunity buff and let's say they run a slow stripper, then you lose the immunity right away. But Destina and then into Angelica will almost always ensure that you have an immunity up at least for 2 turns, depending if ML Baal runs a Tisa Scepter or Gerardo running a Tisa Scepter. Another aspect, of course, not just the heal and you get from all dispelling all debuffs, but you also get combat readiness boost every single debuff up to 4 times. So up here it says combat readiness also increases by 15% per debuff, and it could affect up to 4 times. So that's 60% CR boost. So you can imagine if she's, let's say, ahead of all your damage dealers, right? Ahead of all your damage dealers, ahead of like your tanks or whatever, but she's just slow enough to, you know, accept all the crazy debuffs from ML Baal, Dizzy, and an Araminta. Generally, people run them pretty fast. And let's say she catches right under their nose. Okay, she's there. She puts up the dispel for all the debuffs. So all the nasty debuffs are gone. She could pop up the CR boost for everyone, even though because you're technically going on your second turn, The CR push for your heroes would probably be mostly for really slow heroes. And what I mean by that is, by this time, Araminta and ML Baal and Dizzy are already working their way down the timeline for their second turn. So the CR boost is really good so that if you have like really slow heroes, which I'm very, very well known for, you have really slow heroes, at least you're pushed up to 60%. Now, generally, by the time that Araminta even gets her turn, you do have a ton of debuffs if Destina goes first. Now, there's another caveat here. This is very, very difficult because this also means that Destina needs to run not only immunity set, but also high effect resistance. For people in higher arena, let's say champion 3 onwards. Let's say champion 3 onwards, but I know for sure in legend, people are running about like 200% effectiveness heroes there. Which means that even if you run immunity and let's say 150% effect resistance, you're not gonna be resisting that, alright? ML Baal comes in, strips your immunity, and then puts you to sleep. And then Destina is like, drooling. And then you have Dizzy, boom. You most likely will land some of those debuffs. Most people are running about 100 effectiveness Dizzies, probably no higher than that. And then the Araminthas can come in really crazy, like 200% effect resistance, or for effectiveness. Either way, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. So I'm not saying that Destina is like the end all here. On paper, she sounds really good, but in practice, I've seen it all the way to at least champion 2, which I'm kind of hovering around these days. She's not too good. Like, I can still land a couple debuffs with like Dizzy. As long as her immunity is gone, I can still land a couple, and my Dizzy runs about 100% effectiveness. So, you know, all in all, on paper, Destina feels like she's perfect for the meta. Now, I do have like I said, Destina, I have 3 of them. You know, am I gonna 6-star her anytime soon? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I just have too many heroes that I'm kind of like focusing on right now. So I don't know if I'm gonna farm her gear. Because if I was gonna build her, I would have to farm like brand new gear. I honestly have nothing that can go for her right now, as it is, to make her actually pretty decent. So generally, when people build her, at least for the meta that I'm kind of proposing here, you run two times immunity. Immunity set, and then 2 times effect resistance set. Alright, so a lot of Banshee farming, a lot of Azimanic 11 farming. That's if you can get the stats and the substats. Most likely you run a speed boot. She does need some speed, and you do need some speed substats in order to make up the loss of speed. She has about 100 speed. I think it was like 99 or 98 or something like that on her base speed, so it's really hard. So you may as well not go with a speed set if you're really going to use her the way I'm telling you. Definitely an 85 T85 boot for 40 speed. That would get her at about what, 130, 140 speed-ish. With a couple substats, you need to get her around 170, I would say, to be safe. 180 if you can, but then 180, any faster than 170, you kind of run the risk of not cleansing on the right turn. So for example, someone could run like an Araminta, like a super snail Araminta, because they know that, you know, once they have ML Baal and Dizzy go first, like, it doesn't matter what you do. If you cleanse it, too bad, it's over for you. Like, Araminta is gonna come. Yeah, and you need to run the immunity because it means that they have to roll twice. One to dispel your immunity, but your effect resistance can actually resist the dispel on the immunity. So you need to run both immunity and high effect resistance. So anyways, that's my thoughts on Destina. Whether or not to pull for her, I don't know. If you have some of those supplemental heroes that I just mentioned, Acadius, Angelica, Dingo, Kitty Clarissa, they're not healers, of course, and other cleansers, you might not need her, especially without a buff. But if you're a collector, go for it. Why not? I'm gonna talk quickly about her event. So this is the same event that we got. How long has it been now? 8 months ago now, I think, when this banner first came out. Some people are saying like it's like 4 to 5 months. It's not that insignificant. I think this game started in October 2018. So I think it's about eight months since we got this. So I mean, the good thing about this is, like, you know, old players will be able to get all the rewards again. I'm assuming that's the case. Get all the rewards again, so it's good. Heart of Hypocrisy. And again, I don't know. You could use this for a lot of people. A lot of people need that. Special Alarm Loop, of course. Baby Mouse Insignia. Of course, this is all for cancer signs. They share the same artifacts here. This is interesting. A new free artifact. it's been a while. We had a couple good free artifacts here. This one I'm not impressed with. I don't think people need to go ham for this one. Let's see here. So so look at the max level description. Attack increases by 4% after attacking all enemies, effectively stacked up to 5 times. So that's 20% more attack. Even if the attack percentage is scaled from your total attack, so kind of working like the Luna's passive, it's I don't know how good that is, to be honest, because it takes up to 5 turns at least. So 5 turns, but only after AoE attack, right? So if I'm not wrong here, it's only after the AoE attack. So let's say if you're using Tenebria, so the fire mage, you put this on her. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of better artifacts. Even 4-star artifacts could beat this, even though this is 4-star. But I mean, like 4-star legit, like pulled full 4-star mage artifacts. I think it could already beat this. I don't really see this used anywhere. Maybe in some long drawn out fights. And like I said, it's only if it's 20% scaled from your total attack. Pre or post buff, I don't really care which one, but at least total attack. If it's a scale to 20% of your base attack, this is absolutely garbage. It's absolutely garbage. I wouldn't bother with it. Maybe if you collect it again, 1 max enhanced version, which means that you need 6 or 7 of them, I think. Or 6 total. I don't think this is great, but obviously, yes, you should clear the health difficulty for the gold transmute stone there, get the free one there, just any difficulty up to 10 times. I myself, I might farm up to 1 max level, but I just don't really see myself using it. I don't know, who knows, maybe there's some new mechanic in the future that would make this really good, but just so far, I mean, we had a couple good free artifacts, in the past while. Sword of Azera, very, very good for wyvern hunts, especially. The Portrait of Saviors with the Guilty Gear collab, and of course Leela Violin right now, which is like one of the most OP free artifacts that we have. So hopefully you guys actually got a couple copies of those. But yeah, Tear of the Desert, I don't know. I would say this is a bigger letdown, but again, yeah, this is about like the same kind of level as Ambrote and Santa Morte. If you're here for that, guys, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like limited usage, and there's like better artifacts for the class that it's meant for. If this was meant for all types of classes, like including rangers and whatnot, I can see maybe some usage, but I still wouldn't say it's like a must-have. Yeah, it takes 5 turns for 20%, and you have to max it. So like, who in their right mind would really max it? Most likely you're stuck at maybe level 1, maybe level 2, so maybe up to a 15%. I don't know. Yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts on it. Don't think I need to really talk. Oh yeah. Powder shop changed. Yeah, by the time you watch this video, you most likely have this at least for quite a while. It seems that's about a month again. A month. Idol's Cheer must have. If you don't have one, you must have it. It's incredible, especially for the meta right now too. I will say that this Destina meta I was talking about, be careful of using Idol's Cheer on a Destina defense comp, or even an offense comp, and the reason is because you don't want Destina to use Idol Cheer and push up one of your damage dealers before you get the cleanse. So just be careful. But Idol's Cheer, of course, is very good. I think, but it does depend on the meta right now. If yeah, it depends. It's good though. It's a must-have. So if you don't have it, you must get it. Time Matter, I think skippable. Bloodstone skippable. Alexa's Basket completely skippable. At this point, I don't even know any usage for Alexa's Basket. It's RNG based, and the buff that you can get is RNG as well. So if you do have it, I would say you could probably sell it for powder. To be honest, I mean, again, unless you're a collector, I think I'm gonna keep one of mine, but I'm never gonna like make it max enhanceable. It's just a terrible artifact. Time Matter, again, better mage artifacts out there, and then Bloodstone is decent, but if you're not using it on, let's say, Bologna in Abyss or something with like high HP, you won't really get much out of Bloodstone, to be honest. So again, I think it's skippable, especially if you've completed up to Abyss 90 right now. Moonlight Dreamblade, pretty good. Good on a couple thieves there. Wondrous Potion Vial is again a must-have. If you don't have Wondrous Potion Vial, I'm gonna give Aline a shout out. He doesn't have it, so if you don't have it, get one. If you already have it, get a couple more, because that's how good it is. Absolutely fundamental. You most likely want one copy at a plus 30, so max enhanced. So you need 100% proc rate on that. Mine's stuck at a 95 just because I haven't put love into it, but 95 really sucks if that 5% doesn't proc, and it's like a make it or break it turn. Hellcutter skippable, Adamant Shield skippable. So anyways, that's my thoughts on this one at least. Quickly talk about the dev notes. So congratulations. So Europe server launch. I mean, Epic 7 is doing so well, already expanding so much here with German, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So again, big thanks. I mean, the developers note says a big thanks to their hard work, but I give them a thanks as well. Good job, Smilegate. Good job. Yeah, some update information. I'm gonna kind of skip this portion. I literally like it. Really like immersive like UI updates and also rewards. Apparently, if you have already completed these guides, even for an older player like myself, we can get those rewards too. So like some ancient coins you can see here. I'm pretty sure there's some probably like some, I don't know, some charms here or there. So that's pretty cool. The other thing is Montmorancy. So Monty for short. Montmorancy is getting a specialty change soon. So I mean, this was already like data mined like quite a while ago. So we were kind of expecting it to come. And we were already saying that, yeah, it's been like about, I think 2 months since the last specialty change. Before the collab came, before Guilty Gear came, I think we were having about one specialty change per month. I think that was the case. And it's been a while now. Obviously, it's been a whole month, but I think a bit more than a month. But Montmorancy is now kind of announced. Kyle, I'm going to give you a shout out. Kyle wanted me to show this to you guys. So this is apparently the official art and animated. So it looks pretty good. So, you know, from a little, well, I'm not going to say much about this. I mean, this is pretty cool. The quality is a bit low. Otherwise, I would zoom in. It's a bit like pixelated. I don't know. But yeah, someone pulled this, I guess, and made this official. It's safe to assume that it is official art. I mean, the animation, especially on the, what do you call that, a skirt? That bit weird apron thing. You can tell that that has skeletal, like 3D animation there. So skeletal structures waving. So I mean, I don't know if anyone's gonna really, you know, go into the extent of actually modeling the skirt and then animating it 3D to make it like a fan art. I mean, that's pretty extensive. Yeah, because the head could be copy and paste, but I'm pretty sure this is real. The detail of like the book pages flying and stuff looks like typical Smilegate stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing is, of course, episode 2 preview. So we were all saying that I think it's already kind of been announced on a couple like teaser trailers. So apparently they're having some kind of like fan gathering like festival thing in Korea. I think it's in June. So more details on June 9th. I think it's actually June 9th and when that's happening. And then in that trailer, if you guys haven't seen it, there's some kind of teaser trailer that, hey, come join us. It's like a awesome like Epic 7 summer gathering, whatever. I think they already kind of announced that there's going to be announcements of Story Season 2, so Episode 2. So if we already going to see how Episode 2 begins, I'm not quite sure if like this is added on, or was this already there at the beginning of that event? So like 8 months ago when this event ran for the first time, was it already there? I'm not quite sure. It doesn't really matter, but maybe now we'll keep our eyes peeled for it. Anyways, that's it for this one, RBTL. But I think the main thing, of course, main news usually people care about is the banner. So again, if you're a new player, whether or not you should put polling for this, I'm a 50-50. I think you can live without her. Again, I've kind of survived this long without her. She's kind of a nice to have, but not a must have. So in my honest opinion, I would say skip if you don't have it. If you do have it, of course, you know, why are you even polling, right? Unless you got a problem, but yeah, that's my opinion on this. But yeah, hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. I hope you guys think about some like theory crafting and builds and, you know, usages for Destina. Maybe you have her and you're thinking, hey, should I be building her? yeah, if you have her, you could definitely build her for sure. So those are my thoughts. I'm gonna end this one here. So if you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.